Okay. Where the heck did it go? Here's the thing. There we go. Music shift. And boop. I exist. I was working on, so last time we started working on the UI elements, and in particular, where did I put it? The options menu. I moved things around a little bit here. Yeah. And we were doing this input action, right? Well, after stream, it came to me that this is the kind of element, specifically here, where I would show the icon, that I'm gonna have to do a lot of, because like control hints and things like that are gonna need that same feature. So rather than code this every single time, why don't I make just this part into its own element that I could reuse, right? Smart idea. That ended up not being the problem. The problem came because I was like, well, the behavior here isn't the same as the behavior of like a hint that's coming up to tell you what button to press. This is relying on what key is bound to just show the correct icon. But I don't have an element for a hint yet, but a hint, say telling you press A to interact, is relying on what the action is, what the key it should be showing is, what the image needs to be, which is then based on the controller or mouse and keyboard, as it were. And if it's a controller, which controller? So I did a couple things. One was I started working on setting up the control icon here as like its own thing. But it got incredibly convoluted because I don't need it to always care about like the specific platform, because so those two columns, the idea would generally be that one column is for, at least in the terms of a PC or Linux or Mac release, you'd have two columns, one for your key inputs from your keyboard and mouse, and one for your inputs from a controller or a gamepad. Console, you know, most consoles don't really do keyboard. I think Xbox technically supports it, but I don't know anyone that would play it like that. So in that case, I'm not really caring about the platform or the controller, but I'm caring about what is bound to that action. But for a hint, I gotta care about what is actively being used in that moment. So it becomes a little more complicated. It's like I have to check what is the player actively inputting from. Now, to some degree, I have some of that already in place because like I have a plugin called Switcheroo, and it's able to determine a detected input device and what device they're actively using in the moment so that it could hot switch. And that's cool and everything, but that's not needed in the main icon for like an options menu. Because again, we're showing two different control methods generally and the bindings for each. So I was getting really into this nested loop of having to check a bunch of things. It did lead me to digging around in some forums and coming up with a C++ solution for, and I haven't tested it super well yet, but it's I created a component that is in my game mode, and it actually gets the registered devices. It uses the raw input plugin. It gets the registered devices and gets their device IDs, and it goes through and it does some filtering. This was something I basically found in a forum post. And it's able to configure them where it can then compare them against, and I only have a couple examples, but it can compare them against a data table of known controllers, which then, if I can, these are known IDs for PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch Pro controllers. And so at the very least, and I have a few of each of these that I'll be able to test it with eventually. And hopefully I can add in some other things. Like I have a Stadia controller that I can test and see what it comes through as. And I have both the Switch Pro and the Joy-Cons that I can test, because I'm pretty sure you can use the Joy-Cons on PC too. I don't remember how you go about doing that, but I do recall hearing that you can. And then I also have, I suspect that my 8-bit DOE controller, at least this one, will recognize as an Xbox controller. But I'll also be able to test a few different others. I don't think I have them any in here. I think a lot of them are other 8-bit DOE controllers, but I have some like Bluetooth versions of like GameCube controllers. I think they're made by 8-bit DOE, and N64 controllers. I'm just curious to see what they register as more than anything else. I don't have plans to like implement them, although it would be hilarious. But I would be curious to see, just in some weird edge cases, what controllers register as. If I can get it working, I have this ancient GameStop controller. Oh God. Oh no, these were rechargeable. Okay, that's fine. I thought those were going to be corroded as hell. I have this ancient GameStop controller. I'm not even sure where the dongle for it is. Like it's a PS3 controller, I think. I'll be curious to see what that registers as, if it even still works. But just to test this thing out kind of as thoroughly as possible. And so that lets me actually know what's connected. Now, I don't want to rely on this being accurate. One of the things I read was that I'll have to take into account is like Steam's got a controller compatibility layer that I think a lot of people who use Steam are probably familiar with. I often even end up disabling it because sometimes it causes things to be a little weird, but it's supposed to make it where non-standard controllers can be used. It apparently has a tendency to misidentify controllers through this plugin if you are using a layer like that, and it will ID, say, a PlayStation controller as being an Xbox controller. However, at least at the vendor ID level, however, apparently I could then check the product ID level, which I do have, and in fact already set up a thing for filtering that, and I'd be able to compare that against a list of product IDs. Unfortunately, those aren't really standard, so I would have to test some controllers and make my own record of those, I guess, to get them in there. And then I'll probably, just in case of misidentification, I'll set an option where the player can override what controller icons are showing. Because especially with like little third-party controllers, I think it would be impossible for me to accurately predict all the different IDs. But in the long run, we have to get rid of this. Like all this needs to go for now because it's too complicated. I think, well, the idea of breaking this guy off into its own component is a good one for like hints and stuff. It is not going to be useful to have it be a single icon for all needs. That'll just require that widget to be way too complicated. So I think I'm probably going to end up with, at the very least, two versions of this. One used for the options menu, one used as the hint icon. So for now, we're just going to work on the hint icon. And because of that, I'm going to rename this just so that I'll be able to tell which one is which. Hint. No. Yes? No. No. This is for settings. So that's actually fine. I'll name the other one like hint icon or something. In fact, let's do this. Hint icon. That'll work. Okay. So, if that's the case, then all we really need to do is duplicate what we were doing in here, which we started. We take the key, the input key, yeah. Okay, so we take our key input and we assign the action that's different. That's that. Those are the size boxes. We made those visible. That's that. This is collecting our keybinds. Here, this is where we started all that. So we break the action key. Key, break it. And really, at this point's where I feed it in. I don't bother doing all this in the thing. We're just sending the key icon. It does this part. So it handles this for both those. We can get rid of this guy actually, because that was what made me realize that I should probably do it this way. So now we get to this. This is where we're going to end up. Nope, not that. Just that. Shit. Not right now. I just want these. Boop. Boop, boop. Okay, these are end. And we're actually caring about this guy. Get. And icon size. This is already a set value, but it'll be something that we can alter. In fact, I should probably boop. Oh, no. Oh, God. What the hell? Boop. Seriously? You have to compile it first. Why don't you let me click the thing? There we go. Boopity boop boop boop. Boopity boop 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 boop. Okay. Now, our key icon is our image. That's our target right there. We don't care about matching the size of that because we're just going to do this. Boop. And we also we're in an ad break. Oh, I just popped my shoulder. Oh, that hurt. Is anybody not in ads? Women, I know you're in chat. I saw you. Or I know you're watching. You showed up in StreamerBot as soon as I launched stream. I think you show up every time, which is impressive. Okay. I believe we're back from ads. Yep, there it goes. Not to call you out, Lemon, but I can't help but notice that you pop into stream almost as soon as it starts, pretty much every day, which is impressive. It shows me on StreamerBot almost immediately. I don't know, I guess my schedule works really well for you. Okay, so I've got a new variable I want to create because I just had a thought. Directional. Actually, we'll just call this axis keys. It's going to be a key. Where are you at? There you are. Oop. It's going to be an array. And the reason it's going to be an array is there are a selection of keys that I want my icon. Oop, I'll show it on here. So my idea is that there are a selection of keys. Oh, did I not put the texture on here? What is it? Blank, black, normal. Oh, why are they in here multiple times? This one. Why is it so big? I think 50 is what I set that variable at. We'll say 50. Might even be a different size. What did I? Oh God, no, it's terrible. 60. The fuck? Oh, it's... I am a dumbass. It's getting overwritten by default by this because there's no default texture. So that's why it's doing that. For now, Christ almighty. There we go. And boom. Yeah. What I was getting at was that I've got these guys in here, as well as this, which can be changed out. So specifically this is so that if, say, the key is an axis, like up on the joystick, on its own, the joystick, at least in this particular texture package, doesn't have any directional arrows. Now there's kind of two ways it can handle it. I went through and edited it together and made versions of them with those on there. But then I was like, oh, well, if I'm already doing this anyway, why don't I just make it kind of dynamic? So that's kind of what I'm doing. So what I want to be able to do is compare a list of, compare whatever keys in there to a list of keys that are axis keys, say like these guys, and if they are axis keys, then it needs to look at what modifiers it needs to show. I wish there was a faster way to do this. But I really don't think that there is. Now, I think it's mostly going to be the gamepad. I mean, technically these are axis, but I don't have anything that's going to consider a trigger axis. I don't have any actions that are going to consider that. So it should be fine. So I think we'll be good on that one. Technically, the mouse is an axis. don't think I have one for mouse up, mouse down in the textures. We just have mouse middle. We don't actually have anything for the axis. So, probably good to do that. I had not just considered that one. There's this, but actually, I think that the PlayStation has, not these. Okay, it has a touchpad there for PS4, but it doesn't have directional stuff for the touchpad. So, I guess we do need to consider the touchpad. Now, notably, I don't have an input type in this version of the engine for Series X or PS5, which is kind of a problem. These might see. These are probably for the Steam controller, but I don't know how they're calculated in there. So for now, this will probably have to be it. All right. So so before we do this, find, or can we do is? Not an index. You just want to, we might have to do it as key find item in array. -1 if not found. So then we can do an equals. Set should show modifier. Okay, so we'll do this. Determines if key provided key if so, we need modifier icons to show. Cool. And then branch. And if we are true, we don't. And if we are false, see, that's actually a little bit I'll probably forget that. So -1 means it wasn't an axis. Because future me is going to come in here and be like, what the hell? Okay, so if not, it doesn't need to really do anything at this point. We still have to match which one to show. We haven't done that part. That's going to involve our data table. Yeah, you got blocked there, bot. Don't spam in my chat. Now, not only are you banned, you are reported. Okay. So, for this, we need fine. Get key icon. We don't really even need the data table out here. What we actually need. Boop, 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 boop. That's just to quickly make that node. We need to do a for each data table row. And it is a what the hell are you actually based off of? Oop. Oop. Which struct are you based off of? F key image? Bloop, 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 bloop. So break F key image. Cool. we need to find where key equals key. Oh God, don't do that. That's terrible. Don't want it. Get out of here. Nope. Stop it. All right. That'll narrow it down a little bit. Ultimately, we're going to return the correct icon, but not necessarily from that. So I just need it on my return node. All right, if this is true, can we do a local variable? There we go. I need matching keys, and this is going to be key structure, right? Or no, it might be, you might need to do it on an F key image and just go ahead and take the whole thing if it's a match. Make an array of them, because we still have to narrow them down further, but that's fine. Boop and branch. If it's a match, then we need to add it to our array. Add. We're going to do an add unique specifically because there shouldn't really be duplicates. There shouldn't be duplicates if it's considering the row names, because those are unique. But if it's considering the key, which it shouldn't, it should be adding the entire row because that's the struct. Oh, but it's not though. Interesting. Okay, we may not want to do add unique, at least not right now. We'll just go add. If true, add. The row. And then once it has this completed, then what it needs to do is do a for each loop. On the array. And we need to find out which control we're showing. If it's a key, like from mouse or keyboard, that's pretty straightforward. And there should really only be one match in that case. And actually, can we do a count? Length. If length Ooh, you know what? First, we do want if it's equal to zero, then we probably shouldn't be doing this loop. There's no reason. Firstly, and I should probably put some kind of error handling in there at some point. I'll forget that, but that's fine. And then if it's equal to 1, then we don't we also don't need to run it. But in this case, we would be able to just output the one match. So we would do this, get I'm just trying to I guess find an item. No. Find an index, right? Would be all I really need. Where? Could I just... I don't need to find the index. I mean, I was just gonna do it by index, but in this case, if we've just ended up with the 1, no, that won't work. Boop. Oh, you know what? If it's true, we don't need to do anything else because we don't even have to get it out of the array. Because at that point, it's this one, literally. So we could just do this, and then we may as well return this information as well, in case it's useful in some way. Boop. Now, if we do have to loop through it, we need to determine this is probably, because at this point it's probably going to be a PC, like a keyboard or mouse input. So if that's the case, at this point we do want to detect the controller from the game mode. Get game mode. Controller. We only need to do that once though, so let's do that here. us not do that every loop. That would be terrible. And also better check if it's connected, because if it's not connected, then this probably isn't gonna work. So if we're connected, controller type, array element, break, oh, there it is, right there. We just need to match this, I suppose. And if that's true, we should at that point know what icon we need. Branch. Do a set if true, set. And theoretically at this point the key should still match. There's really not a huge reason to still check that, but it's probably not a bad idea. So at that point, we should just do an AND on these guys. We could narrow it down by a platform. This is where it's a little trickier, and where it starts to get convoluted. So we can do this, and we can match it to an enum. This is one of the things I was working on trying to do. But I don't know. Because yeah. And the main reason I'm wondering about that is because let's fast forward and assume that I can do a console release, right? How does the controller detection come into play in that case? Are those IDs the same? And I don't know the answer to that. So we probably first need to check is, can I do like a validated get? Do you not have a validated get? That's a little annoying. I want to make sure that it's set. I guess what I could do is just do this, because if it doesn't match, then this is blank. Would be a pretty safe guess. We still need it to return, but at this point it's probably going to just have to return blank. And just return like that. Gracious. Okay. So that just does that. That hasn't even handled any of the access stuff. So at that point, what we probably need to do before we get to these guys, we probably need to set a sequence. And because these other things return, we probably need to make them happen second. Oh, you know what? No. I'm getting ahead of myself. That's all done outside of this. Is just a function. Easy me. Okay. I think we're good. I think that'll return things correctly. So we need to run this guy. Target is self. That should be fine. Our key is here. We output here. What? 2D object reference. Why is that not compatible? Excuse you? Interesting. Yeah, it's not going to like that. I didn't think so. Why? 2D. Cast a texture 2D, I guess. Okay, well, if that's the case, then hold on a second. Instead of making this thing angry, not you. We have an ad. We shall wait on the ads. Ow, my arm. All right, ad should be over. Cool. So instead of making this thing mad and reworking that, we should be able to just cast it to a 2D texture. I'm not actually sure why that, because it's literally assigning a texture either way, so I'm not really sure why that's a problem. So that should be fine. Cool. Oh yeah, I was already doing this out here, so I was about to redo work. So if we're supposed to show our modifier that matches one of the access keys, now then what we have to do is determine what it is we're showing. And what needs to, oh darn, I'm gonna have to make, the easy way to do this is probably going to be, let's say, vertical axis keys, and then horizontal. Ah, shit. And that will probably help. And I'll still have to probably check for like an up or a down, but I might be able to, since those or a little more niche, I might be able to do those on like a switch case or something. There won't be as many. So out of this, we should get rid of probably our 2D axes because I don't have anything that should use those. Which I think also accounts for that guy. So these are fine. Those are counted as vertical. I guess oh, my brain. Your y-axis is vertical? I can never remember that off the top of my head. Yes, y-axis is vertical. I can never be certain off the top of my head. I usually remember correctly. So let's remove all our x-axis out of here. Okay. And all of our y-axis out of here, along with our 2D axis. Cool. And then get horizontal, get find the easiest way to do this. Hello. Let's see. Should you go by Yoshi, maybe? Little Yoshi friends? It's your first time chat, but you've been in here before, I'm pretty sure. Because I recognize your username. Welcome in. It says first time chat. You may have chatted before. I recognize your username. Maybe I've seen you in another stream. Probably do this as a sequence. Because at this point, we've already determined. So, if this is a match, this thing's actually opposite in this case, which I hate. Probably fuzz or come on. I'll be honest, I don't recognize either of those, so it could be me just imagining things. But I mean, it says, if I click on your thing, it says following since July 25th. So it implies you've been here before. Unless Twitch is losing its mind. Oh, this is backwards. I assume you mean like a streamer named Nerd? I mean, I am a big nerd. No, I don't think so. definitely feel like I recognize your username. Remembered I joined someone's stream, and that's entirely possible, and that's where I may not remember one of the people you're mentioning, because I could have followed a stream over. Oh, you know what? Let's see, when was that? I bet I can I go back far enough? Because that's not that long ago. Okay, that. Could have been Dat Monkeys. Because the same day you followed, he gave a shout out. So, well, that answers that question. All right, this is going to be obnoxious because this is backwards, which I hate. Oh God. Zoomers. Hello, Zoomers. Hello, Raiders. Zoomers is cool, so if you're not already following Zoomers, you should go check her out. I think at least a couple of your Raiders already know me, but for those that don't, there's a part of me that wants me to, because I just got a channel trailer, there's a part of me that wants to run it, but I don't have that set up to actually do it. But basically I'm a big nerd. I do game development, which is what we're doing today. In fact, that's usually Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh, I see a Dune worm emote, and oh, that's one of Ko's. That makes sense. I have a Dune worm emote, but unfortunately it's not on Twitch, it's only on Discord. I don't have enough emo slots, and I haven't put it on there. I like that emote though. But I do game development, so that's what we're doing tonight. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then Fridays is game night, so I'll be playing something tomorrow. It might be more Resident Evil. I haven't, but then again, speaking of Dune, I kind of probably need to play Dune. So how are you, Zoomers? What were you playing? Probably like, well, let's see, Subnautica. That makes sense. Yes, indeed. Happy Thursday. The week's almost over. Can I invert this? That would actually be great. No, that's a bad idea. Boolean. What things can I do with a Boolean? I guess not. We could do a not Boolean. Yeah. Wait. Not equal to -1. This is the better way to do it. It's not stupid. Overcomplicating things. Almost getting eaten. Well, that's also a whole thing with Dune too. Told you need to play Dune. It's the exact opposite of what you're doing. You're still trying not to get eaten. You're just in the desert. What is this? So I'm working in Unreal 4. I'm working on what's going to be a horror game in the realm of Resident Evil, like Resident Evil 4 in particular. In fact, I want to kind of do the same inventory system where you have to kind of like jigsaw your inventory storage. Right now I'm working on controls and options, like, because before I can actually start doing the inventory system, which is one of the first things I want to work on, like first features I want to implement, I kind of need controls. And technically I have them, like in the sense that if we do play in selected viewport, you can walk around and do things. I mean, you can't do anything. You can walk around, but I don't have any interaction or anything yet. There's no... These doors right now are just automated, just so that I can walk around and build this little test level. This is gonna be something for me to test out features in, as well as just practice with some level building tools. Like I have a tool that can dynamically build these staircases and the railings, which we worked on 2 streams ago, I think. And so basically what happens is I can place one of these out here and I can control, we'll do this as an example. I can control, nope, not that. Like how many, let's see, where is it? How many balusters to put in. I can adjust things like that. I can adjust, it'll automatically create it as I drag it out. Defines the endpoint. And the stairs have kind of the same thing. I can define how deep the stairs need to be. And so that way, and I can just change out the mesh later. So this is a tool that I can use when it comes time to build the real levels to quickly build certain types of features. So this is just sort of a practice level, effectively. But I wanted to start working on the inventory, like the actual features, and the first one was going to be the inventory, because that leads into things like keys and other items that would have been used for doors, and it kind of all snowballs. So I started working on input, and specifically, like right now, this is a single part of an options menu. So picture you're on your control screen on an options menu for keybinds, and you have like the name of the action here, say jump, it would be here, and then you have a primary bind and a secondary bind in case you have both keyboard and mouse and controller. And what I'm doing right now, because I have to do this a bunch of times, is I don't want to have to reprogram. I had started working on this on stream, but I don't want to reprogram this image to show the key that or button you're using every time. So I'm creating a reusable element that can do things like show if you're using a joystick or something and you're pushing in a direction, it can show what direction, and it can show what button it is. And so that's what I've been working on right now. And in particular right now I'm working on what I'm calling the modifiers, which are the arrows, and whether or not to show them. So if you're more curious about the game, I haven't gotten into like story on it yet, because I have a general premise, but I don't do any of that on stream. But I have a little command that'll do a synopsis of the story. And also, there's not really anything on it. In fact, I just launched it a couple days ago, but I have a website for it as well, where I'll post, if I'm not working on stream, which I work on it off stream as well, I'll post like blog posts and stuff on that website. It does have an age gate on it because while the game isn't rated, it would probably fall into like a mature rated game. So it does want you to enter your age, but it's just a cookies thing. It's more of a COPA thing than anything else. In the new Assassin's Creed game, I haven't been keeping up with a lot of newer releases, to be honest. I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in a very long time. I don't even remember. Man, it might have been like 4. Might have been the last one I played. Oh, and the bot just posted the Discord link. I do have a Discord where I also post about stuff like this, and I also have resources if you're interested in learning to do game development yourself. I have a little channel for stuff like that. It's not terribly active. There's only a few people so far for that. We do have, because I saw the emote earlier, I don't know if that person's still in the stream, the Dune emote, we do have private Dune server that you can play on. You don't have to be a subscriber or anything. You just have to get the information out of the Discord. What is squad wipe? That's a cute emote. So let's see. Let's do this as, so if it should show, then let's do it as a sequence. Probably be the easiest thing. Although, you know what? Because if it does it as a sequence, you guys see, I assume you mean if your game is done downloading? Alrighty. Well, thank you for coming by if you have to leave. I'll still be here a little while. Probably another hour or so. Okay. Okay, so is our key in either of these guys? And we could do a similar comparison here, but the question is, Okay, let's do... And then... Discord links don't work for you? You talking about my Discord link? It doesn't work? The one in chat? What? Any special endings? I'm confused what you're asking. You mean special endings for the game? I haven't gotten that far if that's the case, but probably there will be. You type words fast. You using like voice to text or something, maybe? That would make a lot of sense, actually. My wife does the same thing, and I often have to like effectively translate whatever she said in order to understand it. Okay, so in this case, we can do this as a sequence because we'll find out which of these are true. Small text K for me. Let's see. Best way to do this is going to be maybe an OR. Do a Boolean OR. Oh wait, I'm doing that wrong. Branch or deadly fluff laser? What? What is deadly fluff laser? All I can think of is a cat. I don't know. Not that. Go away. Is get. Boop, 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 boop. And then. So if it's either of those, then we know we need to show a modifier. If it's not, then, so let's see. case, we probably have to do... I wonder if it'll... It'd be nice if I could get an OR return that also... Which I would probably have to code a macro for it. But like an OR that gave me the positive, it's probably this. The logical not OR of two values. So that's if it's not one or the other. In this case, logical exclusive of... What is the logical exclusive of a Boolean? Logical exclusive. No, that's if one is true and what? Yeah. But I want it to give me the one that is true or false, or the one that is true. So probably not that. I just didn't want to do this in more than one step. We're gonna have to do this first. So if it's one or the other, then we check that one, and if that's false, we check the other. It's just gonna have to be how we do it. I hate nesting it like that, but I don't think I have a function that can do that any cleaner. I could just check them one at a time and skip this step, but I feel like I'd rather know before I even go down this route if it's even one of those. So the first one was our vertical axis. So if it's the vertical, can we do a... Is it possible to do a switch case on it? Probably not. Can I do a switch case on the array? No. Probably not. I want to know which one it is, and then have it behave appropriately. I guess the other one that's so the main one I'm concerned about are these two, because if it's the mouse wheel up, it's just going to be an up arrow. If it's the mouse wheel down, it'll just be a down arrow. So I guess then, if that's the case, I don't have one of these for this one, do I? Oh, wait a minute. Why did I keep this in that? These don't need to be in here. duplicate this guy and then do mouse wheel axis. And then we just delete everything but those guys. So then if it's a vertical axis, we want to know if it's also one of the mouse wheels. So a vertical axis was that guy. Boop. And find item. Oh. I don't need that. I need that. So if it's not -1, then it is found. If your game is being stupid, I'm sorry. We can do this and this. Set visibility to visible. Oh, you know what? Let's collapse this to a function. Really? You can't do that? Alright, fine. Set vertical axis visible. Boop. Boop. Oh, you know what? Input boolean invert. If true, you accidentally put back in a disk. Oh, must be on console then. Yeah, that can be a whole thing. This will make it easy to re-hide it if necessary, which it will be. And let's go ahead and Xbox. Yeah, I could see that being problematic. Let's duplicate this guy. Horizontal. All right, we're pausing for ads here in a moment because I see the ads are about to go off. Once that goes off, I will basically sit here, hang out with whoever doesn't get ads until we come back. simplify the nodes. It is ad time. You have Call of Duty Cold War. I can't even keep up with how many Call of Duties there are at this point. I think the last Call of Duty I actively played might have been Modern Warfare 2, like the original one. Because I think they remade that one or something. It was one of the ones on the 360. Alright, we should be back from ads. I saw your message about the Call of Duty Cold War. I'm assuming you were probably in an ad and couldn't hear me reply. I don't actually know which one that is, because the last Call of Duty I actually played, I think, might have been the first Modern Warfare 2, because I think they've remade Modern Warfare. But then also probably like the original Black Ops, I think I played. I don't remember which of those came second. I think it was Black Ops. So Black Ops might have been the latest one, like the original Black Ops. I kind of like the scary art ads are gone. Man, I don't like the ads, but Twitch will run them no matter what. So I try to at least keep the pre-rolls off so that people don't get hit with them as soon as they come in. And I run just as many as I need to basically reliably keep those off. And that's about it. I don't deal with them personally because I have Turbo. But so like if you can afford to have Twitch Turbo, that's a pretty nice perk of it. You don't get ads on any channels, even if you're not subbed to them. Only if you had money. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Yeah, you don't get the ads, but it still like pays the streamer, if they're an affiliate or a partner or whatever, it still pays them as if you watched an ad. I don't know exactly if there's any like loss on that. I'm also not really sure how that acts if like you had that, but you also had a sub. I don't know if then it doesn't give them the revenue from the quote unquote ad if you had the sub, because with the sub you wouldn't have an ad. Of course. Hello, Amber. It's like your call sign. Ew. That is her favorite redeem. I do not know why. It is like her call sign. Oh, I have a button now on my sampler just for you. I don't remember which button it is. Let me check before I just go mashing buttons. I think it's... Yes, it is that one. Okay, cool. Yes, on my Go XLR, I have this button just for you. Hydrate. I will, you know what? I was about to drink soda. I do have water. I will drink water. You're at work lurking, you'll listen for the button. Well, I've hit it, so you should have heard it already. I'm guessing that's what the hype lizard is for. A counterfart with reverb. Yeah, I started playing with the Go XLR more, and now I have sound bites, and I can't wait until the next time I'm on like a Discord call with people, because I can record them as well and use them against themselves. So like right now, I have buttons like this. Thanks, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. You right. Yeah, that was making fun of Markiplier. I recorded this one because Markiplier had done something similar. He had like a "you right" thing that he was doing on his soundboard. That was me playing with that. And then because this is a meme on TikTok,
lizard.
I have a lizard button.
Lizard.
My bot's too excited about you lurking. You know, I think the problem with that is I think it's two different bots. I have part of the way that my bot is as interactive as it is, especially on like Discord and stuff, is that it's actually several bots in a trench coat. And so what that probably is two different bots reacting to the lurk command. But I don't know which one's which. Because I have multiple bots all allowed to use the same account. So I also have another button on my soundboard that'll probably also be used just for you, Amber, when you make bad jokes. I apparently missed at some point. Oh, Yoshi, I think I missed one of your messages earlier asking what devices my game will be for. I just saw it in my other chat log. I don't know why that I have another chat log that's like way behind for some reason. I don't know why that's the case, but it is. And to answer that question, at the moment, I plan on it being a PC game. Like I'll put it up on Steam for sure. I already have a Steam license, so that I'll be able to list it. I'm planning to attempt a Linux build so that it can run natively on the Steam Deck. And I'm going to try to also have a Mac build, because I know a lot of games don't come out on the Mac, but Apple makes it really difficult. So that may or may not be possible. And I would like to release on some consoles, but that tends to require money, because you have to get the dev kits and stuff. And you also usually have to get approved. There used to be an easy way onto the Xbox platform through their UWP program, but I don't think that exists anymore. It was this whole ID at Xbox thing that I think they got rid of years ago. So it'll most likely, at least initially, just be a PC Mac thing. But if I can get a Linux build working, and even with the Windows build, it should be able to run on like a Steam Deck if you have one of those. So that's the hope. But the initial build is going to be PC, just because that's the easy one to start with. You're turning yourself into a fluff blanket burrito. Wrapping up to sleep, I assume. Getting cozy. I have a cozy emote. Where's my cozy emote? Cozy emote. Okay. There was something I was trying to do a minute ago. Where was it? Oh yeah, I needed to get this reopened. There we go. Okay. Now, if it's a mouse wheel, then we know we need to figure out which mouse wheel. But if it's not, for the horizontal, we can do set horizontal axis visible. But that also means we should probably count on doing the vertical inverted. So do this. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Okay. If it's neither, we make sure those aren't visible at all. And then if it's if it's a vertical, so if it's not one of the mouse wheel axes, we'll just do this and set that. But then we also need to make sure that this guy gets set, which we can probably just put here, because at that point we already know it's not horizontal. And then the same can be true of this. Boop, boop. Invert. Committing murder in Red Dead Redemption 2. I played like a little bit of the first one. I have been really bad about keeping up with newer stuff until like Dune came out, but I have such a backlog of games to play. I spent a long time getting my bachelor's degree, and it kind of meant that I didn't play a lot of games. Set horizontal if true. Oh, I mean, I love playing games. It's just there was a long period where I didn't have time, is basically what it comes down to, because I was supposed to be doing other things. All right. If this is true, then we need to, let's see, boop and boop. And I guess for this, we'll just do one of these. Because then we can do mouse wheel up, mouse wheel down. First, the intro is so freaking cool. I don't actually remember it, but I believe you. Branch. Holy crap. Oh god, I didn't know that it did that. Oh god. It's so loud. Oh god. It's so loud. It must be because of how many people it was. That was so loud. Would you prefer me to just refer to you as Gaia or Ninja on here? I mean, I know your name because Zen says it all the time. I don't, but you've never been in my stream before, so I don't know if that's just a him thing. Oh, speak of the devil. All right, cool. Well, welcome in. Neither of you have been here before. Hello. And hello, other raiders. So, I do game development over here and also play games. On her behalf, you may call her Stinkus. I'm not going to do that. So, welcome in. I tell you what. I didn't have plans to run this thing, but give me a moment because I just got a channel trailer and I haven't set up a thing to do it yet, but may as well intro my... Nope, don't do it that way. That'd be a bad idea. Yeah, our streams often overlap, but a lot of times I end kind of early during the week. Fridays are the days I run the latest. All right, give me a second. I'm not prepared to do this because I just got this thing. Let's see. But it does a better job of introing me than I could. Boop, 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 boop. Here it is. Hopefully it doesn't sound terrible doing it this way because I don't have it set up for anything like this. Hey everyone, I'm Crimson, or Patrick. I'm a software developer, an indie game designer. I'm sorry, what? And a gamer. The fuck?
Wait. Evron. Looks like a different species.
Do you think? The passion for creating interactive experiences and helping others dive into game development and just creative skills in general.
The vigilante, you can just...
Those are not on.
They're not on?
No.
No, we've got to
I like this shit. If you're into gaming, game development, or just want to hang out, I usually stream every Tuesday and Thursday around 7 p.m. Eastern for my creative projects, and Fridays around 7 p.m. Eastern are dedicated to gaming. Everyone's welcome. All right. Yeah, so I do game development as a hobby. You love that? I think I sent it to you, so I think you'd seen it. Yeah, I don't. Credit to Blue Bella. She is they. I don't actually remember what her pronouns are, to be honest. But they are the editor. You're being nice. Amber, you have to behave. No fart redeems. My evening has been good, Zen. It's almost Friday, so that's good. I like how I'm telling Amber to behave because she's often doing fart redeems, but the exact audience for those redeems has just hit the stream. So literally me thinking it's Friday. I mean, I think you're ahead of me in time zones, so it could be. Yeah, so I have channel point redeems, and one in particular, they are a little high on the channel points, but that's because somebody hoards channel points like a dragon. So you can blame Amber for them being high. You'll be lurking. Well, thanks for the lurk. p.m. Eastern? Well, then we're in the same time zones, then. Yeah, if you're EST time, we're the same time zone. I remembered, for some reason, I think that Morgan's in a different time zone, so... Well, I appreciate the raid. Thank you. Central time. Yep, that's what I thought. I remembered yours being different, and I couldn't remember what with Zen being Canadian, where he was. All right. Branch off of this guy. Yeah. Yeah, well, I know what's going on with that for the most part, since I've been in both of your streams. So, but the other thing I should probably do here is explain what the game is. There's a command that helps. So basically, I'm making a horror game along the lines of Resident Evil 4. In fact, I'm planning to have the same sort of jigsaw inventory system, and it's going to take place in an asylum. This is just like a demo level that we built recently for testing out features. The only thing you can really do in it right now is walk around. I can play an editor though here. Let's see. Let's do a new editor window. Boop. So you can walk around. This is about all you can do. The animations and stuff are still kind of just everything's a placeholder. I'm working on the actual features right now. I'm working on options menus so that we can actually do stuff with inputs. And try to make things a little bit more dynamic. So mouse wheel down. If false, check if mouse wheel up. And these are where we care about the arrow up and the arrow down. And we need to do a set visibility, not seat, set visibility on both of these. Boop, boop, and boop, and a boop. We'll do it this way. So arrow up would be for this guy. If true, do this. If this one's true, do it the other way around. Boop. And then if for some reason, somehow, because I don't want an error, neither of these are true, then we gotta hide those guys. Now, this should already be accounting for the other two, like everything else being invisible, but I don't know that it will be. So the smart thing, maybe to make, whoop, nope, don't do that. Ah, hell, there we go. Smart thing may be to do this first. Boop. And boop. It's such a mess. Oh. I haven't figured out why, but for the life of me, so I use StreamerBot to keep certain menus and stuff, or windows open. Like I keep a special chat log and event feed down on this smaller monitor I have on my desk. But for whatever reason, and I don't know why, if I run the game, like the in Unreal, run in the editor, it like crashes the browsers that those windows run in. It's very strange. And then they like become entirely whited out for no discernible reason. Okay, so I think this accounts for the icons and accounts for showing the images on those things. The only other thing I could think to do is make sure that if somehow both of these are false, that we have hidden everything. Just so it doesn't like slip by and end up with duplicate arrows or some shit. Alright, if that's the case, then we should be able to remove input key primary is this guy. Am I actually using one of those in here? I am. But that should be fine. So let's try to add one of these to here. Control icon. Tiny desk monitor. Sounds like it's going through an Unreal time. You know what, Amber? You've just unlocked your new special button. I didn't think I'd have to use it on you yet. You sped run that one. Oh, I see. Yes. What'd you think it was gonna be? Alright, so our control icon should be able to do that. And then, you know, the only thing I'm worried about is what's gonna happen when the arrows show up. Because it's not square. You like it? A slow clap? Yeah. I guess I could get a slow clap. That would be pretty fitting too. Okay, so we can remove these. And remove these. Because now we have boop and a boop. Yeah, that's a variable. That's good. Set that. Put one of these in here. Also on the thing. Delete and delete. Secondary. Yeah, well, I'm just worried because that's not square, and this kind of assumes that the whole thing's square, which that's kind of a problem. Could I? Maybe do padding on it to force it to be square? Or I could scale it to be square. I don't know that that's actually going to be good, though. That probably won't work. The simpler option may just be to make this larger. Maybe we make that 100 and 100. And then these can be at like 80. Okay, let's 90. That should put it close enough to be square. This is probably going to be too big, though, is the thing. What the hell? Alright. Oh, did I do something that's like overwriting somewhere? Okay, I may have to... Well, let's see what control we have over this when we do it. So, let's start with this guy. Get... And what variables do we get access to? Okay, that's actually not terrible. What am I working on tonight? I am working on user interface stuff. So, where is it? This guy. So imagine you're looking at your options screen and you're looking at where your key bindings and your controls are. And this is showing you, like, over here there would be, there's nothing in it right now because it's empty. Where is it? This. This would have, like, say, jump. It's going to replace it because of the way the thing calculates, but it's going to pull in the specific action that you're binding a key to. And then here would show, say, a keyboard binding if you're using mouse and keyboard, and a controller binding if you're using a controller. And these little squares would change to the appropriate button, to a point that I actually have, and I'm working on a way to kind of do this dynamically, hopefully. I have UI elements for most controller types. So these are like all of the different keyboard inputs, as well as mouse inputs that are commonly used. And then for each platform, I have like PlayStation inputs, say. I have stuff for the new ones, but because Unreal 5 or Unreal 4 predates the PS5, it doesn't have automatic support to recognize it. So I'm gonna have to figure that one out. I have Xbox controllers, so like it'll show the appropriate buttons. I'm also hoping to show the appropriate buttons if you're using a Switch Pro controller. I might see if I can make it work with the Joy-Cons as well, but I hear that's tricky. And I don't know who would use their Joy-Cons on their PC. And while I would love to have it on something like the Switch, that requires a dev kit and approval from Nintendo, which is a whole nother kettle of fish and a lot of money. Dev kits are very, very, very expensive. I also have support for the Steam Deck, because I'm hoping to be able to have a native Linux release that can run on the Steam Deck. And then I even have, because I have one, even though I don't know many people that own one, I have stuff for the Steam controller, which I don't even know if you can buy anymore. I think they discontinued it. But it'll show appropriate key bindings for what you're using, is the idea. We still got a ways to go on that. Okay, so I need this guy, I think. Let's see. Did the guy to do the thing? Yeah. So set. No key specified. Text. Get key display name. Cool. So we still get this. Oops, we still get to set that. We are taking a break. So we pause for ads. If you don't get an ad, if you didn't get an ad and you're not like subbed or using Turbo or anything, we just kind of hang out. If you're new here, just kind of letting you know. I do talk to chat if for those that are able to not be trapped in ads, but I don't want anyone to feel like they're missing out on stuff because they can't sub or whatever the case may be. So we just kind of sit here, usually shoot the shit. I should drink water. Alrighty, welcome back from ads. If you had an ad break, you didn't miss anything. We just sat here and I twiddled my thumbs. So let's see, primary, secondary. I explained to those that didn't have an ad or that might have been new that I pause for ads when possible. Not every game allows for it. Oh, you delayed. Yeah, well, you're lurking, so that's understandable. Yeah, I want to be as what's the word? Considerate is technically the word, but not the word I'm looking for. I want to make sure that like people aren't left behind. And in fact, so I went through a thing earlier when I was explaining it earlier, because someone else had asked. I've set up a feature. And it took some digging to figure out how to do this. I had to dig in some forums. Where is it? Where's the game mode? Where's the game mode? Game mode? Hello, game mode. Oh, it's in here. Pretty sure. Yeah. So I created this guy, this get connected controller. And so this is actually something I had to write in C++. And get connected controller, what it's doing is it uses a plugin that Epic created for the engine that you optionally turned on called the raw input plugin. And basically it is, well, it doesn't actually show anything here. I I have to go into game mode to show it. This guy. Basically what it's doing is it pulls in a list of all the registered devices, like controllers and stuff that you have attached. And then it loops through them and tries to figure out if it recognizes any of them. It shouldn't account for like mouse and keyboard. It should just be looking for controllers. And it loops through here and it compares them to a list that I found online. I say list, it's only 3 items of known IDs for PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch Pro controllers. I'm going to try to find through my own testing, probably, since I have those other types of controllers, what the IDs are and log those. But basically, once I've logged those IDs, it compares them and it tries to find out which controller it is. And it then tells me through this little output which of the type of controller. Now, you can see I've got placeholders for these. They're not identified, so I don't do anything with them just yet. And it's even got a fallback for if it can't figure it out. There are some catches to this that I will have to account for, but I don't have the data to currently do that. And that is that if you use something like Steam's, Steam has a controller, what do they call it? Like an API that lets you take a non-supported controller. Say you have a game that's meant to run with an Xbox controller and you have a PlayStation controller. It takes the inputs and like makes them work. And that's great, but it's not always perfect. And it also means something like my system here will technically be confused and think this is an Xbox controller. So if that happens, and it returns a vendor ID of Xbox, there's a possibility that it's not an Xbox controller. And I would be able to tell that from a product ID, which is here. The problem is, those aren't really, there's not like a list that I could find, at least so far, of known product IDs for different controller types. So what I'll probably have to do is, through my own testing, see, because I have a few different, like say Xbox controllers, and I have more than one PlayStation 5 controller, more than one, so I can try to figure out, are these controllers ones that we know, and are they consistent? If their product IDs are consistent, then I can make a database of those and just check against those, in which case I can probably pretty reliably figure out what the ID is. If I can't determine that, then I will have to come up with something else. But I do plan to have a setting so that in case I get it wrong, the player is able to override what is showing. I don't have that yet, but that's one of the things I'm planning to make sure they can do. Just for maximum usability standpoint. I'm also trying to have, or planning to have, as many different like accessibility features as I can. I'm looking into a font that's optimized for dyslexia. I'm also planning on trying to, I don't personally have any form of like color blindness, but I'm going to try to account for some color blindness settings. I know some people that I might be able to use for testing for that. And there's resource I actually have for other people interested in game dev. I have a resource in the Discord. Where is it here? There's a website that I consult frequently for things like that. Where is it? It is this guy. Copy link. I need that. That's fine. Open the Zen browser and then this guy. So I love this website. It's the Game Accessibility Guidelines, and basically, you can get a list of things you should consider for different types of accessibility, like motor accessibility, if someone has cognitive issues, vision, hearing, speech, etc. And they even kind of have it categorized. So like, what's the most basic things you can do? Include an option to adjust game speed, toggle sliders for haptics, which is when your controller vibrates. So like allow people to turn that on or off. Ensure that like controls are large and well spaced, especially if you're using like a touch screen or a small screen. Sensitivity adjustments, allow controls to be remapped or reconfigured, things like that. Use simple and clear language, interactive tutorials, avoid flickering images and repetitive patterns. There's likely this is gonna be a feature. It's a common thing with horror games. So while yes, there'll definitely be a warning, it's probably going to be the kind of thing where like I have to come up with an alternative for those depending on how they're used. But there's a difficulty effectively categorization for this. So I love this resource because it kind of explains and even provides a way that you can get you can solicit like accessibility feedback. It kind of gives you like best practice examples for each subject matter, which is cool. So that you have like, it doesn't go and say, hey, do this, this, and this to implement it, but it's like, hey, this is how these other games did it, and this is what you should consider. And that's a good way to kind of have that as a resource to consult when you're thinking about those kinds of things. So people should be able to enjoy games even if they have like an accessibility issue. So let's do this and should be able set key. Yeah, here we go. Oh god, it's awful. And we need to set key to this. Let me copy this over. Would have subtitles? Absolutely. Whether or not I will have much in the way of translations for non-English speakers remains to be seen. I would like to do some translations. But I don't exactly speak any other languages, especially. I know a little bit of a couple other ones, but that's not enough to do translation. And Google Translate is not exactly a reliable choice for that kind of thing, because context is often lost. For UI, I can probably do Google Translate, but for actual dialogue, no, probably not. Basic subtitles, I'll probably try to have like at least a semblance of full closed captioning, for like audio and stuff, noises, that kind of thing, because I think I know I can accomplish that. That's kind of not it's like more common. It was something for a while, and I still don't think it's very common. But yeah, that's the idea. I hope you can do that. but definitely subtitles. Because, I mean, the fact of the matter is, right now, like, I don't even know for sure that they'll be voice acting. I would certainly like for there to be, but that's going to be the highest actors. Which again is dependent on the game's budget, which it really doesn't have one. It's an out-of-pocket budget. And like, changes kick off that kind of thing. What I do here, as you know, Amber, is support those things. So, and these actors are expensive, but rightfully so. They're expensive. And I would need at least a small handful of them based on the characters in my head at the moment and on paper. So at the very least, there will have to be subtitles. There may not be any dialogue. We should see how that plays out. I guess I could also override the size of the image. Set icon size. We're getting that thing off, you might disappear now. Alright, well, if you're not gone already, thank you for coming by. Thank you for your usual fart reading. You absolute monster. Let's set like 40 and 40. 40 and 40. It honestly may have to be a little smaller. Let's see what at 30. I gotta beat those arrows that I have to have, and then that might be hard to manage. But actually, might be getting that.